Hi there, Aquarius. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of May, and I am breaking this month down into two different segments. The first segment is going to be May 1st through the 15th, and then after that we are going to look at May 16th through the 31st. So, I'm not feeling like I'm done shuffling yet. Normally I would start putting down cards now, but seems like you guys have a lot on your mind during this time frame. There we go, that feels done. It's usually when people have a lot on their minds that I have a hard time coming to a stopping point on the shuffling. Okay, Aquarius, cards are down. Let's take a look at what you've got. So, the first thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about your environment, and your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most of you, this will be home, but for others of you, this could be some other place as well. You want to be a little open-minded about that. And so what I'm seeing is that whatever your environment is, you are putting a lot of energy, effort, maybe even a lot of finances into that environment during this time frame. That's pretty cut and dry. I think we're going to go ahead and just move right on from there. Next, we're looking at subconscious leanings, and it looks to me like in your subconscious you're a little bit worried about the idea that maybe money is tight, or that maybe, yeah, I just feel like subconsciously you're worried about this idea of maybe money is just a little bit too tight and you're not quite sure how you're going to handle a certain situation whenever it comes to finances. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about learning style and also communication style during this particular time frame. So, learning style, it does look like you are really focused on money, 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 honey. And I think you're talking to somebody else about different ideas that you have about making money, creating money, that type of thing. Maybe stopping the hemorrhaging of money even. All right, and then let's see, your communication style. What do we have? I feel like your communication is very solid, very grounded. You know exactly what kind of ideas you're trying to get across, and you're getting them across in a way that nobody can really miss them. Okay? Very clearly. Now, next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about work, and the biggest thing that I'm seeing here whenever it comes to work is that work is something that is not making you very happy right now at all. And it kind of feels to me like there's this sense of something slipping between your fingers, slipping away between your fingers at work, and I think that has to do with this feeling of unhappiness there. So that's going to be different things for different ones of you, but I think that's enough to give you the idea of what I'm talking about. At least as you go through it, you'll recognize it. La da 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 da. And when I say it feels like things are slipping through your fingers, I really mean to get across to you that's a feeling. I'm not saying things are actually slipping through your fingers there. For a lot of you, I feel like things are not. Just things may look like they are. Okay. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. I do feel like you are looking around at different options that you have that you could take advantage of to make your life better or make your way of life better. So, you know, what kind of improvements can you make so that things run more smoothly in your life? I think you're looking at several different options in that area right now. Now, next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about those things that you stand for. Goodness. And then whoever it is that you're having to stand up for this to, whether you're having to explain it or whether they actually confront you, we're also going to look at how they feel about you after you've had this explanation time or this confrontation. So what you're standing up for is things have been going good for you lately. The Wheel of Fortune has been turning in your favor, and things have been coming to you a little bit more easily than they used to. Now, why would somebody confront you about this or want an explanation about this? I don't know. What is it about people not wanting other people to be happy? I don't get it. Anyway, once you guys have this conversation, the way this other person feels about you is that you are a very happy person. that you're doing things that make you feel very satisfied and very happy. I like seeing that. All right, so next thing that we're going to look at is the lesson or experience of this particular life cycle. And this is basically, I think you're finding out about some kind of news about either money or about material goods that's positive news. This is the kind of news we like to hear. This is the news that says, oh, you know, we got a raise, you're going to get a raise, or you're getting a bonus, or, you know, you won this prize, or whatever. You know, it's something about either money or material goods that we really like to see. Okay? Now, the next thing that we have coming up at the same time that you're finding out about this, we do have somebody that is coming clean with you about something. Somebody that I feel like they're telling on themselves. That's the word that Spirit is giving me. Somebody is telling on themselves to you and more or less throwing themselves at your mercy. I get the sense that they know you would find out sooner or later. They're hoping that if they tell you that you won't be as upset with them as if you find out from somebody else. Okay? And then the next thing that we're looking at the same time talks about that you are finding something new that you really enjoy. This can be the companionship of a person. This can be a new hobby, a new activity. So just finding something new that you really enjoy. And then we end this first half of the month with somebody letting you know exactly how important you are to them. Isn't that sweet? Okay, well, Aquarius, that's that for the first half of the month. I'm going to go ahead and take a break, rest my voice, and when I come back, we will look at the next half of the month. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you in a second. Welcome back, Aquarius. We are here to wrap up your month now. We're looking at May 16th through the 31st this time around. Thank you for being here, and thank you for putting thumbs ups on this video and for sharing it with others who may benefit from it as well. Your first card just hit the table. We're going to go ahead and take that. Of course, also thank you to those of you who get private readings and private Reiki sessions with me, and those of you who make it into the lives and watch the dailies. I appreciate all of your support. It is your support that makes me able to do what I love to do for my living, so thank you very much. No other cards hit the table, so we're just going to take the rest of those. Okay, Aquarius, we are ready for you now. The first card that we have showing up does talk to me about your environment. Environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it's home, but it doesn't have to be, so you want to keep your mind open for that. And it looks to me like you are hearing some kind of news about the environment that is not necessarily making you happy. This is something that you're not wanting to hear. So for an example, I have some friends who they have a place that's out in the country. Everything is really quiet and peaceful, and there is somebody who is buying some land that is not far from their house, and they are going to be putting in a solar farm. And so my friends are not too happy about that news. So some kind of news about your environment that is not making you exactly thrilled, okay? It's not dastardly, it's just not making you thrilled. All right, the next thing that we have showing up talks to me about your subconscious leanings. And so Aquarius, I think that you've got somebody on your mind, probably a female for most of you, but it doesn't have to be, but I would say 80% of you, we're talking a female. And this is somebody who is very well grounded. This is somebody who also feels pretty comfortable with the assets that she has. Now, that doesn't even necessarily mean that she has tons and tons of assets. It just means that she feels comfortable with what she has. She's not ambitious to go get more. She is just feeling very comfortable with what she has and abundant. She's sharing what she has with other people. And this is somebody who is on your mind, at your subconscious level at least. For some of you, that's going to be your boss. For others of you, that's going to be a neighbor or a friend. For some of you, that's going to be a sibling or another family member. So that's going to manifest in a bunch of different ways. But basically, a person with that type of personality is on your mind. This could also be somebody who hosts a lot of, or hostesses a lot of get-togethers. Alrighty, let's look at learning style and communication style during this time frame. I do feel like for your learning style, you're not being really aggressive about what you're learning right now. I think that you are, I don't even want to say you're asking questions. I think you are sort of, I think you're just kind of sitting back and waiting to see if certain things will come up, if people will talk about certain topics that you might like to know more about. But I don't see you being aggressive or assertive about pursuing those topics at all. You're just kind of waiting to see if things are going to come up. As far as your communication style, I do see you communicating in very positive, bright and shining, cheerful, happy type of ways. Definitely. Excuse me. I do think, though, that there is some information that you're sort of holding back. I don't feel like this is necessarily secret so much as it's just that it doesn't feel necessarily appropriate to you to be sharing that information right now at this particular time. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about work. Excuse me. Okay, so what's coming up for you guys about work, especially during this time frame, is that you're doing things that are not your normal style. They are not traditional at all. They may not be anybody's normal style. So you're doing something that is very unique, very original, and very much tailored and suited to you. So you could be an artist creating something like nobody else has ever done before. You could be somebody that is putting together a few different types of freelance jobs just to be able to make the income all work. You know, there's just something that is very non-traditional about your work during this particular time frame. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about that part of you which is growing or expanding right now, or that part of your personality, I should say. And it looks to me like you are breaking through some old paradigms or some old thought patterns that have become habits, and you are, I feel like you're breaking yourself free of those. You're breaking yourself loose of those and bringing more liberty into your life by freeing yourself of those self-imposed restrictions. And when I say self-imposed, I think this is more on a subconscious level, that you have certain things that you've believed for your whole life or for a long time, and they've been sort of running your system as far as the decisions you make and the actions that you take. Well, I think you're getting a good look at some of those. Even though they're at a subconscious level, you're really consciously getting a good look at those and starting to pick those apart and replace those old thoughts, old rules, with something that actually works better for you nowadays. So really breaking yourself free from some old thoughts or some old habits of thought. Now, next thing I'm going to look at, Aquarius, is that thing that you stand for. So this is something that somebody has complained to you about, or they've asked you for an explanation, or they've confronted you about it. And so you've talked to them about this thing. And then we're going to look at not only what is that thing, but we're also going to look at how this other person sees you after you have this communication with them. Okay? So it looks like there's a situation in your life that you're having to stand for or explain, where something has come back from the past, and this is something that was a struggle, created tension, created possibly drama in the past, and now even though you thought it was dead and gone and over, it has showed back up again. And so once you have stood for this thing and explained this thing, dealt with a confrontation about this thing, whatever the case might be for you, Aquarius, then how the other person sees you is they see you as somebody who just refuses to stress out about it. That you used to be stressed about this situation before. Maybe you were even more stressed whenever this thing was a thing of the past. And now that it's not a thing of the past, they're seeing that your stress level has actually gone down. Okay? So, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that lesson or experience of the life cycle. So it looks like it's what we have coming in is a message from somebody, maybe even a message, that you are giving to yourself that is giving you permission to do something that you're really fired up about, that you're really passionate about and excited about. So you've got this message that says, hey, go ahead with this inspired idea. Now, at the same time that you've got this message coming in, I think you're making a very serious decision about what is fair and what is not fair for you to do in your life in a particular situation. And I think that this message, when it comes in, sort of triggers you to make a decision there where before you had been procrastinating on making that decision. I also feel like as this message comes in, that sort of gives you that permission to move forward. I think you start to feel like, oh, I don't know, can I do this? There's a little bit of that. I'm not so sure that you even thought maybe that this that you would ever get this go-ahead, basically. And so I think that there's a little bit of this, am I good enough to do this? Do I really have the skills? Do I really have the qualifications? Can I really pull this off? Some of those types of thoughts are actually going on here as you are looking at this thing that you've been told you can go ahead with. And then once we get to the end of the month, Aquarius, what's going on here? I think you're really having a hard time within yourself. You're debating within yourself about stepping forward or not stepping forward. So basically, if I was going to summarize, the last part of this time frame, what I would say is that you have leveled up in some area of your life by changing your subconscious thought patterns. And because you've changed those subconscious thought patterns and allowed yourself to level up, now you have this go-ahead that you might not have ever thought was possible in your life before. And now that you have it, you're on that verge of okay, well, yeah, I believe that, yes, I manifested this. I turned myself loose with getting rid of those old negative thought patterns that were holding me back, but can I really do it? That anxiety of, oh my gosh, what did I do to myself? Can I handle this success? And so we see you really struggling to make a decision about whether you're going to take this opportunity to go ahead with something and actually do it or not. That's where we see you when we end this month. You haven't decided just yet. Okay? I'm going to advise you, do it. Just do it. It'll be fun. It'll be fun and exciting. And happiness making is what I'm hearing. But anyway, you guys get to do whatever you want because you have free will. But the way the cards are falling on the table right now, I don't see you making a decision by the end of the month. I hope you do. I hope you make a fast decision to go forward with it. I hope I'm wrong. All right, well, thank you very much for being here, Aquarius. I do look forward to doing private readings or private Reiki sessions with some of you before the next monthly. But if I don't see you between now and then I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.